must have heard this question from parents a million times while putting their kids to bed. But why is that? Why do we ask our kids to close their eyes when we tell them a bedtime story? Is there any real benefit to this, or is it just something we do out of habit? And what if your child doesn't want to close their eyes? Is it okay to read them a story with their eyes open? Well, in today's video, we will talk about all of this. So make sure to watch the video till the end. But before we begin, please subscribe for more such informative videos. Also, like and share this video if you find it useful. We will not be able to answer these questions without first understanding the benefits of closing one's eyes. When we close our eyes, we are blocking the entry of light into our eyes. This has many benefits, some of which are listed below. Reduces eye strain. Closing your eyes allows your eye muscles to relax. This can help to reduce eye strain and the sensation of having something in your eye. It also helps to prevent dry eyes by reducing the amount of air that can evaporate the moisture on the surface of your eyes. Improves sleep quality. Closing your eyes is an essential part of the sleep routine. It helps to signal to your body that it's time to go to sleep. Closing your eyes also helps to reduce the amount of stimulation that your brain is receiving, making it easier to relax and fall asleep. Protects against injury. Closing your eyes helps to protect your eyes from injury by reducing the amount of light and foreign objects that can enter your eye. Now that we know the benefits of closing one's eyes, let us try to understand how closing one's eyes helps kids to sleep. The biggest reason why closing one's eyes helps kids to sleep is because closing one's eyes is linked to darkness, and darkness helps kids to feel sleepy. In fact, exposure to darkness even during the day can help kids get sleepy at bedtime. On the other hand, exposure to bright light during the day can keep them up and delay their natural sleepiness. Our bodies have an internal clock called the circadian rhythm that regulates sleep and wakefulness. The circadian rhythm is controlled by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a small group of neurons in the brain that responds to light and darkness. When it gets dark, the CCN sends signals to the pineal gland to produce melatonin, a hormone that promotes sleep. Melatonin levels rise in the evening, peaking in the early hours of the morning. This helps to regulate the timing of sleep. This is the reason why most kids will feel sleepy when it starts getting dark outside. If you have ever tried reading a story to your kids in a pitch-dark room, you might have noticed that they would start yawning and rubbing their eyes after a few minutes. This is because the darkness triggers the production of melatonin, which makes them sleepy. However, some kids need complete darkness to feel sleepy. And if you are reading them a story in a dimly lit room, they may not be able to focus on the story and may even ask you to stop. If your child doesn't want to close their eyes when you tell them a bedtime story, it is important to understand why. They may not be ready to sleep yet, or they may not associate the story with bedtime. You can try telling them the story in a darker room with their eyes closed, or you can try reading them a different story that they enjoy. It is also important to establish a consistent bedtime routine. This will help their bodies know when it's time to go to sleep. A good bedtime routine includes brushing their teeth, putting on pajamas, and reading a story. Make sure to keep the lights dim and avoid any stimulating activities before bedtime. These activities include playing video games or watching TV. However, there are some rare cases where keeping one's eyes open can be beneficial. This is especially true for people who suffer from certain eye conditions. For example, people who wear contact lenses may be able to wear them for longer periods of time if they keep their eyes open. Keeping one's eyes open can also help to prevent the buildup of eye gunk, which is a common problem for people who wear glasses. In addition, keeping one's eyes open can help to improve focus and concentration. This is because the act of keeping one's eyes open requires a certain level of mental effort. As a result, people who practice this ability are often better able to focus on tasks that require sustained attention. However, for the majority of people, closing one's eyes is the best option for promoting good sleep hygiene. Parents should encourage their kids to close their eyes when they are telling them a bedtime story. This will help their kids to get a better night's sleep. Kids should also be encouraged to avoid screen time before bed, as this can interfere with the production of melatonin and make it difficult to fall asleep. So now you know why it is important for kids to close their eyes when listening to a bedtime story. Make sure to follow these tips to promote good sleep habits in your kids. Now let us look at a few bedtime stories that you can tell your kids. Once upon a time in a faraway land, there lived a little girl named Lily. Lily loved to read books, but she had a problem. She couldn't fall asleep at night. She would toss and turn in her bed for hours, but the more she tried to sleep, the more awake she felt. One day, Lily's mother went to the library and found a book on sleep. The book had a bedtime story that was guaranteed to make anyone fall asleep. The story was about a little bunny who lived in a forest. The bunny loved to hop around the forest all day long, but at night, he would snuggle up in his burrow and dream sweet dreams. Every night before the bunny went to sleep, he would say a prayer. "Thank you, forest, for all the fun we had today. I love playing in the trees and swimming in the river. I can't wait to explore more tomorrow." After saying his prayer, the bunny would close his eyes and fall asleep. Lily loved the story, and she asked her mother to read it every night before bed. Soon, Lily was falling asleep faster than ever. She dreamed of magical lands and adventures every night, and when she woke up in the morning, she felt rested and ready for a new day. Another story you can tell your kids is about a young boy who had a big problem. He couldn't stop daydreaming. He would daydream so much that he would fail to pay attention in school. He would forget what he was supposed to be doing, and he would get into trouble with his teachers. One day, the boy's mother took him to see a wise old man who lived in the forest. The old man listened to the boy's problems, and then he gave him a small box. He told the boy to open the box only when he was in trouble. The boy thanked the old man and he went home. The next day at school, the boy started daydreaming again. He was in class and he wasn't paying attention to his teacher. The teacher got mad at him and sent him to the principal's office. The boy opened the box and took out a beautiful butterfly. The butterfly flew around the room and landed on the principal's shoulder. The principal laughed and said, "You can stay in my office as long as you want, but don't bring any more butterflies to school." The boy smiled and thanked the old man. From that day on, the boy never daydreamed at school again. He remembered to take his butterfly with him whenever he went somewhere. And whenever he started to daydream, he would simply take out the butterfly and watch it fly around. These were just the bedtime stories that you can tell your kids. There are many more stories that you can find in books or online. Just make sure the stories are age appropriate and interesting for your kids. You can also make up your own stories. The most important thing is that your kids enjoy listening to the stories. Bedtime stories are a great way to bond with your kids and help them relax before bed. So make sure to make the most of this special time. Now tell us in the comment section which bedtime story do you like the most? And do you think closing one's eyes helps kids to sleep? We would love to hear from you. Also, don't forget to like and share this video if you found it useful, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.